video on this gin that I bought. So I treated myself at Christmas to some gin, and I bought the wrong one. This is the Elephant Naval Strength gin, and it's really strong. It's like 57%, whereas opposed to a Tanqueray, which is what I normally drink, which is at 41.3%. So it's nice, but it's just a little bit too strong. So what I kind of thought we'd do is we'll have a go at watering it down with some other gin that's at a lower percentage, and we'll kind of see what happens. So this is just the cheap stuff from Lidl, and it's 37.5%. So I reckon 2 parts this to 1 part that, I'll take it down to about 44%, something like that. And then we'll make a Negroni, and we'll kind of see what we think about it. And then also, depending if I fancy another cocktail tonight, I bought some Mason's gin as well, and I'm finding it a little bit too perfumey. That's at 42%. So we might just water that down with a bit of the cheaper gin as well, and we'll kind of see what happens with that. So let's do this. Let's do 2 parts of that gin. What's it smell like? I'm just on my knees on the floor. You can probably see the top of my head, because I need to measure. So, and then 1 part of that. It's gonna make, I'll probably be in the mood for another few cocktails actually. It's been a bit of a week. Oh, people. That's what the problem is. It's people. That's what my main problem in life is. I just find it ridiculous the way some people act. Although, you got to say to yourself that I'm probably no better. No, absolutely terrible some people's behaviour. Anyway, that's that. So, 3 parts gin, 3 parts Campari, 3 parts vermouth, just cheap vermouth, because I think once you get a decent gin, you can get away with a cheaper vermouth. And then I think to myself, if you buy a better vermouth, you can get away with a cheaper gin. I think that's a good way of thinking about it. I've tried it with nicer vermouths and nicer gins at the same time, and I just find it a little bit too rich. So, and that, like that, and there, and I want some ice. I better pause for smashing ice. Right, so plenty of ice. We've given it a mix. Smells good. Smells good. And how does that taste? Really should do a comparison to Tanqueray, but I mean making even more cocktails and having to drink them. That's much better. That's much better. That elephant gin was just a little bit too strong for me. Delicious, but just a little bit too strong. It's normally the one with the red label that I buy. If I'm going to treat myself to an expensive and nice, extremely nice gin, I don't want to buy the one with the red label, but I didn't have any of that, so I bought the blue label. Not realizing it was so strong. So that's delicious. And then let's just have a smell of this Mason's, and then do I want to talk about work? Yeah, I'm just finding that Mason's just a little bit medicinal. I mean, gin is a little bit medicinal as it is. Let's smell the Tanqueray. No, it's not that medicinal, but it's just a little bit medicinal, is that Mason's. But in the same way that I find Portsmouth gin, it tastes salty for some reason. I don't know if that's a trick of your mind thinking that it comes from the seaside, therefore it tastes the sea. But anyway, so yeah, if the gin's a little bit too strong, you can buy some cheaper gin and water it down, and they kind of balance themselves out. That's success. But yeah, I'll be having a Mason's. I think so. Yeah, we'll do the same with Mason's, but we'll drink that first, and then we'll see how it is. So that was nice. Let's do a watered down Mason's gin. It's a nice gin. It's just not in the realms of my palette of flavours. So, and I've had a cocktail now, so I'll talk about work. So, it was a large function, and Um, I was paid for a certain amount of people to eat. I sent those number of meals out, and then someone came in and said they needed another meal, and I knew I'd sent out, say, 30 meals, because I counted the plates, because you kind of always have to, just so you know. And then I knew it was pie as well, so I'd made 30 odd portions of pie, and I knew I'd sent out 30 because I had so many portions of pie left. So I found it really kind of quite strange that I needed to send out another main course. So I said, well, if you're sending another main course, are you sure there's not another one in the room that's on a place where no one sat? So the guy went out and checked, and there was no spare meals in the room, so there was definitely 31 people. So I said, well, if there's 31 people, if there's 31 meals gone out with 31 people, so you kind of need to pay for another portion. So they did. So you kind of go, well, that's fine. Mistakes get made, but I found it kind of quite strange, because they'd already paid me before they sat down to have the meal. And then I counted the plates when they came back. They paid for this extra portion, and I counted the plates when they came back, because I was a little bit confused. And only 30 plates came back, which I thought that was really strange. That was really strange. That I'd sure I sent out 31, because I had a number of pies and I counted the plates. And then I was tidying the room afterwards, and I found another plate in the room, and someone had hidden it at the back of the room on a stack of chairs. So what someone had obviously done was that they ate another main course meal, and then hid the plate, knowing that the plates would be counted. So they tried to get away with having an extra main course, and I just thought it was absolutely despicable kind of behaviour, that someone could do that, if you want. And it wasn't, because sometimes meals get put down in places that there's no one sat, and it's a mistake, and then everyone starts eating a meal. Then people look at this plate that no one's sat there or eating from, and they just kind of go, oh well, it must be a spare meal, we'll just eat that. And you kind of go, well, mistakes get made, people eat those kind of extra meals, and there's always plenty of food anyway, so they just kind of sometimes ate it. But to actually take a plate and hide it at the back of the room, so people couldn't count plates and work out that there was actually someone that had a second main course, I just thought was absolutely terrible behaviour. But anyway, I'm just not a fan of people this week. I wasn't a fan of people last week either, and hopefully this week will be better. But anyway, so how does this taste? Nicer. Still not entirely taken on this Mason's gin. I'm not going to waste it. It's a lovely bottle. I'm not going to waste it though. But it's just a little bit too medicinal for me. But there we go. Behind you, I did buy some Aviator gin, the Ryan Reynolds gin. Or I don't know if he sold the company or not. But that was very pepperminty. So I would have classed that as kind of quite medicinal. But that was very nice. With that Mason's gin, I'm not too sure. But anyway, so if you buy a gin that's just not entirely that you particularly like, it'll probably be fine in a gin and tonic, and this one would probably be fine in gin and tonic. But in a Negroni, just a little bit too perfumey, just a little bit too strong. You can always water it down with a cheaper gin. But there we go. Success, because it's a cocktail.